Welcome to Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerantze coming to you from Los Angeles County. Today we are joined by Jeff Prang. He is the assessor for Los Angeles County, the largest local assessment agency in the entire nation.
That's right.
Which is absolutely remarkable. And let's talk about that size, because as we speak today, events are moving, right, but we already have a sense as to real estate values and how much more will be collected in property taxes in Los Angeles County year to date. Right. What can you tell us?
I can tell you that we are now in the sixth year of continuous growth in property values in LA County, in our recovery from the Great Recession. Last year, property values increased 5.58% over the previous year. This year, we're projecting that they will grow at least 6.02% over the year before.
And what does that do in terms of revenue coming into Los Angeles County?
So, well, as you know, local government, cities, schools, the county are primarily funded through two sources of revenue,
right,
sales tax and property tax.
Right.
So increased values means that there's more money available for police, for education, for roads, for parks and libraries, all the things that we all rely on.
The challenge, though, when we talk about increased values, although we are living under a Prop 13 regime, right, so we don't see our property taxes rise with the value of the home, right, as we used to pre-1978, if we want to move, we don't get to take our bases with us unless we're retired. And so your property taxes can spike so quickly, some would argue, to, at a certain sense, disincentivizing the move.
Actually, there was a legislative analyst report which talked about where they think things will go in the future decades as more people leave their property to their children, which in most cases is not reassessable.
It's not.
In most cases, or in some cases to your grandchildren, or people choose to stay there longer. But right now there is a healthy turnover in property, which is continuing to feed public coffers to pay for those vital public services we all depend on.
So how much money do you expect to take in more as compared to last year with that, almost 0.5% increase?
I actually don't know what.
It's hard to say exactly.
I could calculate that number. I don't have that
it's
available.
All good.
But what I will tell you is that LA County is worth approximately $1.4 trillion in assessed value, which generates about $13 billion in property taxes that is distributed to the county, to cities, school districts, and special districts. LA County government itself generates about $4.5 billion of that number.
I want to speak with you about small businesses.
Right.
So when someone operates a business, large or small, I understand that the value of the property inside the business is subject to property tax. Is that right, sir?
That's correct. A lot of people don't know this, but
I didn't.
Furniture, equipment, and machinery business furniture, equipment, and machinery has to pay property tax just like you do for your home or your land.
Okay.
It's valued at 1%, just like real estate.
Depreciation?
Yes, depreciation is factored in. One of the challenges that we ran into, though, is if you're a small business, let's say you have $5,000 worth of equipment, machinery.
You got a computer or a TV screen, a fax machine, Xerox machine.
$5,000, you get a property tax bill. You pay $50 on that equipment.
It's 1%.
1%. The challenge is what I discovered when I took office is that we were paying. It was costing us more money to process these small assessments than we were generating in revenues for the county.
Oh.
So
what was the cutoff before what you're about to tell us?
Under the county rules, if you had $2,000 of equipment or more, you were required to pay this tax.
That's everyone.
So at my request last year, the Board of Supervisors increased that threshold, that cutoff, if you will, from 2,000 to 5,000, which had the net effect of dropping 50,000 small businesses off the tax roll altogether. And even though that may have a slight impact on gross county revenues, it'll actually increase net county revenues, because for all these small assessments, it costs us more money to process than we generated in revenues. It made absolutely no sense.
So it's $50 from the assessor's office, $50 from the treasurer's office, and if you're only collecting $50, you've lost $50.
Exactly, and we were losing money. So we're trying to equalize that to make it so that we are at least not losing money. We were successful to get that passed last year.
Could one argue that even $5,000 seems a little low.
I think it may be too low, and we are studying taking it up to the statutory maximum of 10,000. We wanted to get something done right away, and we were able to easily demonstrate that 5,000 was insufficient. But we are continuing. We're studying to propose to increase it to 10,000.
You mentioned equalization, and I want
Yes.
to briefly talk about the Board of Equalization,
Right.
which has gone under significant reform as a result of legislation passed. Help me out, sir. I know that the Board of Equalization deals with property taxes at some level, and I feel like I read that those duties are not interrupted. Help
So
me.
they have some constitutional obligations. They assess certain types of specific properties, railroads, utilities,
Inside counties.
throughout the state. There's there's about 5 different delineated
I see.
things that they are constitutionally responsible for. Like railroads,
Yeah, you said,
they're
yeah.
not specific to the county; they cross
I see.
state lines. So they will continue to have that function. They also have an additional property tax function to provide oversight for county assessors. So they audit county assessors to make sure
interesting.
that our practices are done appropriately, to establish state standards for assessment practices. There, the Board of Equalization certifies all government appraisers.
And so, under reform, that's not going to change.
That will not change.
And so you just move forward with the law under reform or even without the
So
reform.
we will still have that same very
Right.
function. There may be administrators with the new revenue and
I see.
fee that do some of the work. The Board of Equalization itself are the ones who certify the audits of the assessors.
Do you anticipate any hit in revenues because of this reform?
No, I don't believe so.
I want to ask you about modern technology. We often hear that government is considered to be inefficient. They're using Macs that look like huge suitcases
Right.
from the 1980s. I want to get a sense as to what LA County is doing to modernize, and specifically your office, which is a very significant office within the county.
So thank you for asking that question.
Yeah.
This is actually the biggest initiative that I have under my administration.
Mm-hmm.
County government is often saddled with old mainframe, green screen technologies from
Literally.
the 70s and 80s.
Literally with those green dots.
You know,
and-
you see our old screens, they look like, remember War Games with Matthew
course I
Broderick?
do.
With a, so that's
Okay.
what it looked like. So we are investing tens of millions of dollars to upgrade our system. We are digitizing all of our paper documents. We are consolidating all of our multiple databases into a single, easy to use, easy to access, easy to interpret portal. Anybody who uses the Assessor's website, if you go to our website now, it's
Right.
a totally different look.
From where does that funding come?
A lot of the funding comes out of our own budget.
I see.
You
manage your budget in such a way.
We can't do it all of our budget,
Of
but
course.
the Board of Supervisors will be supporting it in future years, and it's part of the technology investment that the county has done set aside
Right.
long term.
Do you anticipate a financial benefit both to the county and to taxpayers?
Absolutely. So we have a lot of paper processes, a lot of manual processes that sometimes take minutes or hours to complete. Those will be wiped away.
So can
They're
I
being-
pay my property taxes online? Because I don't think I can do that now.
Well, I don't do taxes. That's the tax collector does taxes.
Right.
We
You
do-
send me the bill?
No, I don't even.
You
do
don't
that.
even send me the bill?
We are real estate appraisers. We assess the value of
And then
property.
you give them the
I
information?
always tell people there's another guy. He has a very intuitive title. He's called the tax collector.
I
He sends you the
love it.
bill and collects your money.
Okay, I want to thank Jeff Prang for joining us. Mr. Prang is the assessor for Los Angeles County, where we are today. I'm Brad Pomerantz. Thank you so much for joining us on Local Edition.